Dicen que solo en Miami, pero probablemente solo en el sur de la Florida, ¿no? Y es que se da una cena de esta fundación anticomunista que ustedes han visto a Alexander Otaola, el influencer, promover. Y en esta cena participan, por supuesto, personas que quieren mostrarse en contra de la ideología totalitaria del comunismo, que quieren apoyar lo que se describe como la misión de la fundación. Pero parece que en esta fundación anticomunista, donde supuestamente están tratando de defender la democracia, de luchar contra la exclusión política, contra la violencia política, ¿no? Porque de alguna manera eso es con lo que asociamos las peores tendencias del comunismo, pues parece que también se expulsan a adversarios políticos, se votan a personas que no piensan como ellos, se falta a principios de civilidad elemental de personas que han pagado una entrada y que se están comportando como se exige, pues aún así escoltarlos fuera del lugar. Simplemente porque son personas, como en este caso, el ejemplo que les voy a poner, que es un candidato del Partido Demócrata contra Carlos Giménez. Y como Carlos Giménez estaba ahí y como parece que la Fundación Anticomunista ahora, su objetivo no es el anticomunismo, sino hacer campaña por los congresistas de siempre, pues acaban de expulsar a un veterano del ejército. Además, y esto es serio, esto es profundamente serio, porque a veces vemos, ¿no?, que en el terreno del discurso público está bien que las cosas se calienten y que se diga uno cosas y lo otro, pero al final somos estadounidenses, al final debe haber un mínimo de cordialidad, sobre todo en el discurso público, y quizás el hecho de oponerse al totalitarismo o a las dictaduras debe ser algo que une a todas las personas, ¿no? O por lo menos eso debería ser en una sociedad democrática. Pues no, parece que dentro del movimiento este de Otaola, Carlos Giménez, que ya es parte de todo este movimiento radical, ¿no?, de extrema derecha, pues tienen que expulsar a las personas que, aunque compartan ideas de la misión de esta organización, simplemente no están en el grupito de ellos. Yo creo que eso es este es uno de los momentos más reveladores también, ¿no?, de realmente a qué nos estamos enfrentando. Y yo creo que es algo extremadamente bajo en la cultura política o en la práctica política o en lo que debería ser, en definitiva, la actividad de una non-profit, que está ahí no para hacer actividades partidistas, sino para permitir que cualquiera que cumpla o que esté de acuerdo con la misión de la organización participe. Les voy a leer qué fue lo que aconteció. Este es el release. Dice: Carlos Giménez ha hecho que el veterano del ejército y su oponente fuera expulsado de una cena anticomunista. Phil Ehr, quien una vez ayudó a refugiados cubanos a escapar del comunismo durante el éxodo del Mariel, fue expulsado fuera de un evento que técnicamente estaba ahí para honrar o visibilizar esta lucha. Phil Ehr es un retirado de hace 26 años y comandante de la Marina de los Estados Unidos. Aquí está el release. Dice, esto lo escribe Vanessa Brito, for immediate release, octubre 11 de 2025. El veterano del ejército y candidato congresional Phil Ehr fue escoltado fuera de una cena de la Fundación Anticomunista en el Distrito 28 de Florida. Hoy el veterano de la Marina y candidato congresional fue pedido y escoltado fuera por seguridad armada durante una cena anual de la Fundación Anticomunista que se llevaba a cabo en el Congreso, en el Distrito Congresional 28 de la Florida. Quien compró estos tickets y atendió a este evento que fue anunciado públicamente con una amiga republicana, arribó en apoyo a la misión de la fundación y para honrar esta lucha por la libertad de Cuba. En el evento había algunos speakers que incluían al oponente político de Phil Ehr, que es el congresista Carlos Giménez. Ehr saludó a los invitados, compartió historia de su misión como un joven marino en la Marina de los Estados Unidos y cómo rescató a refugiados cubanos durante el éxodo de Mariel, y es una experiencia profundamente personal que ha moldeado su respeto por el exilio cubano y la comunidad cubana a lo largo de los años. Él no hizo campaña, no hizo ninguna referencia a su carrera política, ni tampoco hizo referencias a su oponente. Después de estar sentado disfrutando la conversación en lo que se llama el hors d'oeuvres a una Cuba libre, él se le acercó un funcionario, un oficial de seguridad y lo escoltó fuera. Cuando este oficial armado le informó que necesitaba irse. Cuando él preguntó, pero pidió una explicación, el oficial le respondió, no lo sé, me encantaría poder decirte, pero tienes que irte. Él, bueno, simplemente dijo, oye, ellos no te quieren, le dijeron, ellos no te quieren aquí. Esta cena se supone que va a celebrar la pelea o la lucha de los cubanos por su libertad. Y bueno, pues él tuvo esa experiencia de primera mano en el mar, ayudando a los refugiados. Dijo él, y he sido votado, expulsado de un evento anticomunista por ninguna otra razón que ser el candidato oponente político y que en definitiva esto deshonra la lucha por la libertad de Cuba. Bueno, esto es más o menos lo que describe Phil Ehr de qué sucedió. Yo les voy a dar una sorpresa porque tengo a Phil Ehr aquí en línea y le vamos a preguntar directamente qué sintió y qué fue lo que ocurrió. Aquí está, o sea, está en el Instagram de Phil Ehr exactamente todos los datos. Estas son fotos de él durante su estadía en el ejército, durante el éxodo del Mariel. Aquí lo tienen para que vean que no están inventando cuentos de que él es una persona que además se le debe mínimamente respeto por ser un veterano de la Marina de los Estados Unidos y no ser escoltado fuera de una actividad que él pagó prestar, que es una fundación, que es una non-profit y que supuestamente está ahí para honrar la pelea de los cubanos por su libertad, no para ejercer tácticas dictatoriales, totalitarias, excluyentes y honestamente parece que también faltos de civilidad, pues en una cena que se ha organizado. Bueno, para mí es un gusto tener acá por primera vez al candidato ex veterano de la Marina de Guerra de los Estados Unidos y además candidato quien está echando la pelea contra Carlos Giménez, Phil Ehr. Welcome, Phil Ehr. Welcome to 23 and Flagler.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here. And this was an outrage, not so much as you say on the dignity of the United States Navy and the professional force that we have in our country. Yes, it was, but it is more of an outrage on the exploitation of the Cuban experiences in the Cuban struggle for freedom. We are all in it for Cuba's freedom. And to have Carlos Giménez and his thugs single me out and kick me out under armed guard is just horrific, and it speaks to the attack that he's having on the minds of people who want outrage and do not want liberty in Cuba. I want freedom and liberty in Cuba.
How did you feel?
How did I feel at the dinner? Well, I felt that we were having a wonderful, just nice conversation with people around. We had hors d'oeuvres. We had drinks. I ordered my Cuba Libre, and we were just having a great, good social time. There were some influencers walking around the area who were reporters or were on social media, the people that are known in the Cuban exile community as being proponents of liberty in Cuba, proponents of starving the communist regime that is imprisoning Cuban people. And everybody was just having a very good time. And then when I was asked to leave, it was a surprise, frankly. But you know, I was just asked to step outside to talk to the boss. And when I was outside, then the other guards showed up and told me to leave and leave now.
You know, for me, it's a surprise that they go that low, but it's not a surprise completely because for years, many in the Cuban community understand that this kind of foundation and activity for the freedom of Cuba is more oriented to use it as a domestic politic prop. They use the freedom for the Cuban people as something to boost and to basically try to, strengthen the political campaigns of the extreme right Cuban American Congress people such as Carlos Giménez. So of course, I mean, they're more interested on not having you competing with
Absolutely.
Carlos Giménez than for the actual freedom of Cuba.
Yes, absolutely. They are both, but let's remember that every good, every persuasive piece of lie or propaganda is grounded in truth, and the truth is that the Cuban people have suffered for generations. The people who came here right after Batista and waves, including the one I was honored to participate in, the Mariel boat lift with families and children and some others. All of those were fleeing communism and the brutality of it that is still there today. So that experience is real. It is awful, and it's a stain on our country as well for not being able to help the Cuban people solve it. And that's part of what I'm all about, wanting to solve the problem, get freedom on that island with dignity for the average people there, and kick those communists out of power and out of our country as well. Carlos Giménez talks talk, but he doesn't walk the walk when it comes to getting stuff done.
No, of course, but look, and I agree with you. Obviously, if in Cuba things were very good, I would not be here. I had to leave Cuba because I was not able to reach my full potential, and because, of course, we had a political system that do not allow dissent or anything like that. But these people have been doing this for years. And yes, of course, it is a legitimate question and a legitimate cause to bring democracy to Cuba. But when you are not using the cause of the people of Cuba and for democracy for the people of Cuba for the objective of really reaching democracy in Cuba, then you're using it for other things. And this is what I'm afraid they're doing now. But let's talk a little bit about Carlos Giménez. Why do you think that you can beat Carlos Giménez?
Oh, because he is dropping, because of antics like this, because of the exploitation like this, because we are lifting the lid on his lies. He can only cover up from things he doesn't want to talk about, such as the state of the economy, such as the healthcare costs, such as what they're doing to the Cuban American and Latino people in the 28th district, often ripping them away from their families and throwing them without due process into a deportation program that was built on taking away those people who are the worst of us, who are the criminals. But no, we're seeing many others, children, families being split up. There's one man in Key Largo who a couple of months ago was picked up. He had the same profile in age and in country of origin as Carlos Giménez. He was from Cuba, and he had lived in Key Largo for a long time. He has a grandfather, pictures with his family. He had a minor drug offense or a drug offense in the 1980s that was resolved within the court system, and he's a peaceful, productive, contributing life to our country. Yet Carlos Giménez was just fine with him being snatched up out of there, thrown into the Chrome detention facility here in our district, where he died. He died from lack of proper medical treatment, and Carlos doesn't seem to have any regret over that, and hasn't done anything to oversee the brutality that is visited on the Cuban American people, wave after wave, or the Venezuelans or the Colombians or anybody who is frankly not white, and he's just abandoned his people. So I think Carlos needs to go.
No, absolutely. I think he needs to go for many reasons. But the other thing is that they only care about the freedom of Cuban people when they are in the island. When they come here, they don't care that they are thrown into alligator Alcatraz, or that we have an alligator Alcatraz there. They don't care about people making their own choices with their money or their families. He wants to forbid people from send any kind of remittances to Cuba or to travel to see their families. So he has a very particular way to see the freedom of Cuban people that basically means do whatever I say you have to do, and whatever is convenient politically for me. And I think that's pure hypocrisy, And but how would you address these issues with the Latin community and with the Cuban community within Florida 28?
Well, to reaffirm my lifelong commitment to freedom in our country and freedom in the Cuba's island as well, helping those people strive for freedom, get freedom without giving any comfort or aid to the people who are imprisoning them, the communist dictatorship. Those communists are modern day slaveholders. Those communists are just like the fascists in other regimes that are exploiting people and that are abusing them for drug trafficking profit, for human trafficking profit, for many other things. Right now, we have even credible reports of Cuban people being sent to Russia to fight in Ukraine, which is certain death for many people. And so Cuba is not only an exporter of terrorism, as we all know, it's also an exporter of terrorism in that war over there in Europe. Why are they doing that? It's because the Cuban government is trying to keep focus away from themselves. It's just like Carlos Giménez, keeping the focus off of the things that matter to everyday people in our lives. Cost of healthcare, the cost of insurance, the preparation for the federal government to respond to hurricanes or even prepare for them. These types of things is what Giménez is fallen down on the job, and he needs to be replaced.
Well, actually, with the soldiers from Cuba to Ukraine, the government has denied that. It's a little bit murky, but yes, of course. I mean, there's no transparency in Cuba. That's a fact.
I'm reminded of what somebody
Yeah.
said about say back in the Russia context, Putin is very popular. Or we could say back in the day when Castro was around, Castro is very popular. Look, he has all the support. Look at these polls. Well, look,
no,
how can you believe the polls out of a dictatorship like those places?
No, that's for sure. They're not popular. I can guarantee you that they're not popular. Now, the thing is, you said something that's very important. Okay, so we need to support the Cuban people in their search for democracy and freedom. I absolutely on that. But what Carlos Giménez is forgetting is that he needs to do the same here in the United States. He also needs to fight for the freedoms and dignity of the community, not just Cuban community, but all Latin, Hispanic community, and also, those who were born here and only speak English. He needs to fight as well for freedom in the United States that we are, regrettably, we're losing in this now Trump regime or second term or whatever. And I think that's where he's failing spectacularly. I mean, he's failing on both sides. He's not getting any freedom of anything better for the Cuban people in the island. But beyond that, he's also failing and basically giving up on fighting for his own constituents for the advances and the extreme agenda of the Trump administration. So will you fight back? Would you fight this emerging fascism here in the United States?
So you are right on several of the points that I heard you just say just now, Guena. He's fallen down on his job for the main job of the United States Constitution, Article 1 powers the Congress. He has been part of the, I don't care, let the dictator wannabe do what he wants to do. Let him decide where we spend the money, not Congress. Let him decide the tariff policies, not Congress. Let him decide how to arrest people and deport them without congressional oversight on any of that process. And each one of those items and more are powers for the people and the people's representatives in the Congress. And the Congress, with weak, cowardly folks like Carlos Giménez, aren't standing up for everybody. You just talked about the human rights and dignity of Cuban Americans and other Hispanics and Latinos in our district. Well, yes, that is true, and I would say that those types of issues and those realities extend to all of us. So it shouldn't matter, and it does not matter in my mind what your race is, what your language is, what your history is, how long you have been a citizen. No. All of those, if you are a citizen here, you get the same rights. As a matter of fact, if you are on this land of the free, you get certain rights, such as due process, equal protection before the law. And the law will tell what is good for citizens and what is not. But you have that right, and he as being, he's put his head in the sand and has ignored the rights of the people, individually and as groups. And I'm looking for something that is a revival of the spirit of that made the United States independent, and the principles that that guided us along the way. In 1776, you know, we had the Declaration of Independence, and next year, as we run up to this next election, we're going to have lots of talk about the Declaration of Independence, the founding fathers, what America is all about. And if people are honest and they look at where we are now compared with the ideals that the founding fathers had, you'd see a great difference. You'd see people that are, you'd see it today where, again, the Article 1 in the Constitution, the Congress, the people's voice is being, has been run out of town because of people like Carlos Giménez, who just feign and are subservient and are kowtow to Donald Trump, the executive. And they were just fine blocking, you know, the other president before him, Biden, and sometimes for good reason. But the point is that they're all for party. They're party over country. I am country over party.
Phil, how can our audience follow you? How they can find about your campaign? How they can, you know, get your contact details?
Well, thank you. So the best thing to do is to keep an open mind. Keep an open mind for how I compare with Giménez or any other Republican that might show up. He might cower out and go away, but the same criticism will go for anybody that has tolerated what's going on. My last name has 3 letters, E-H-R. So I'm on the social media platforms. My first name is Phil or Felipe. So it's Phil Ehr on X, Twitter, Threads, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, those kinds of things. And my website is ehrforcongress.us, or United States. That's EHRFOR Congress.us. And I thank you very much for having me on today. It's a pleasure.
And thank you for your service. Thank you for having this fight for all of us. And I really wish you, you know, the best of lucks and success. Thank you, Phil.
Well, it's the best for our country. Yes, sir.